Since becoming commissioner of the National Football League a little more than 3 years, I can think of no issue to which I have devoted more time and attention than the health and well-being of NFL players, and particularly our retired players. I want to review what we have done in the past 3 years and make clear that we are not finished. Our initiatives generally for retired players include the following. Since I became commissioner, we have made a wide range of improvements in both the benefits and the administration of the disability plan. We have doubled the minimum benefit and lengthened the time within which players can apply for benefits. We have retained a new independent medical director. We have reduced red tape. We have simplified the process for applicants and their families and sped disability determinations. Each of these changes was made at our initiative. As we proceed with the current round of collective bargaining, we look forward to making further improvements in this plan. Apart from the disability plan in 2006, we created the 88 plan, which provides up to $88,000 per year for any former player and his family who has dementia or Alzheimer's. Those players do not need to show that their condition is related to football. We have developed and funded new medical benefits for retirees, including programs for joint replacement surgery, cardiovascular and prostate cancer screening, spinal care, assisted living arrangements, and a discount card for prescription drugs. Retirees are eligible for these benefits at no cost to themselves. In each successive collective bargaining agreement since 1993, we have increased pension benefits and done so retroactively. We want that to continue. And as we negotiate with the NFLPA for a new agreement, the clubs have again identified retired player pensions as a specific priority and look forward to discussing our proposals with the union. Through these and other benefits, retired players will receive more than $100 million in 2009. And I have committed to our retirees, and I will repeat that commitment today, that we will not reduce or eliminate funding for these benefits based on the status of our collective bargaining agreement, and we will continue to accept new applications for disability or 88 plan benefits.
As executive director, my number one priority is to protect those who play and have played this game. There is no interest greater than their health and their safety. Let me say this again. The safety of our players is paramount. Mr. Chairman, you and this committee deserve immense credit and appreciation for consistently bringing this issue of concussions, brain trauma, health and safety in the sport of football to the forefront. This committee and this hearing will be a turning point on this issue. My hope is that this day will serve as a marker, denoting the day that we are committing ourselves to finding the right answer. It will influence not only this game at the professional level, but the one that so many of us love for our players in college, high school, and in youth football. I have one simple declaration on behalf of those who play and those who played this game. We are committed to getting the right answers, to work with everyone who has the goal of protecting our players, and to serve as a model for football at every level. Given that commitment, I acknowledge that the Players Union in the past has not done its best. We will do better. To men like John Mackey, to men like Brent Boyd, to men like Mr. Wood, and to families of Mr. Mike Webster and to Andre Waters, and to those organizations like the Gridiron Greats that stand with us, I commit and we commit this as our primary mission. We will not fail them. I will not fail them.
The one thing that I would like to bring to your attention that I think that I can have a unique perspective on is Mr. Goodell spoke to the medical aspects and having the doctors make these decisions. One of the things you as a committee need to understand very clearly is the fact that the team doctor is hired by the coach and paid by the front office. This team doctor is not a medical advocate for the players. This team doctor's role is to get that player back on the field, even if that means injecting the player on the field. I have seen a wall of players surround a player, a particular player, and see his knees injected, see his hip injected between plays and him back on the field. This is inexcusable. And I want you to understand the role that the medical community has in facilitating these concussions. The players get to a point where they refuse to tell the team doctor that they have suffered a concussion as well. They do not self-report because they know there is a backup player sitting on the bench ready to take their position. Most of their contracts are back-end loaded with performance bonuses. They need those extra yards and those interceptions in order to make their salaries. The team doctor goes to the combine where he goes over the medical records and helps the team coach choose the incoming players for the next season. He is involved in the draft process because he evaluates how severe that knee injury was in college or that concussion. He's part of the selection process. So he has a very vested interest in that player's success on the field. The team doctor dresses as a coach on the sidelines, and he acts in many ways as a coach on the sidelines. He is not an independent advocate for the player. If a player chooses independent medical counsel, he is considered to be not a team player. He becomes a pariah to the team. We've got to stop that. We also need to have at every game an independent neurologist or neurosurgeon on the sidelines who takes care of either side in the game, who is not prejudiced, who is independent, who can make an independent judgment if he sees a player in a huddle throwing up. Something needs to be done about this medical care. You cannot leave it in the hands of the team physician to make these decisions. And the players are at the point now where they will not self-report because they need the money. They are a disposable commodity. There is a draft coming up every April, and these players fight to hold on to their jobs, and they welcome shots and anything else that will keep them on the field. This is, in my idea, inhumane, and I've watched it since the early 70s.
As executive director of the NFL Alumni Association, the recent medical findings surrounding head trauma in the NFL in general and concussions more specifically, though admittedly inconclusive, has sparked sharp debate and generated considerable interest within this industry. While we as concerned representatives of the Alumni Association find the initial medical results alarming to say the least, unlike my other esteemed colleagues here today, and with all due respect, I'm the only one here that can give direct and actual firsthand accounts of the violence and the often injurious aftermath of professional athletics, which in some cases leads to an accelerated diminishing physical and mental capacity and sometimes fatal human collateral. As a former defensive lineman in the NFL for the last 14 years, I've had the unenviable experience of enduring life in what is commonly referred to the NFL trenches. And unfortunately, during that era, when violent tactical maneuvers such as head slaps, forearm shivers, clothesline tackles, and violent headbutts were commonplace among all facets of football, although most have since then been eliminated, the resulting severity of these combative interactions were oftentimes trivialized and minimized by the powers that be, usually referring to such incidents as simply getting your bell rung, getting your clock cleaned, or having cobwebs in your bonnet. You may ask the obvious question as to why. Why refer to such antiquated and archaic behavior that has long since been banned from use in professional athletics? The answer is rather simple. Though the practice of such brutality has long since vanished, the resulting delayed consequences remain present and are feared to be more prevalent and widespread among our aging NFL alumni population than any of us dared realize.